Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Beyond This, the podcast where we talk about all things from life, living, the afterlife, and all those things in between. In today's episode, I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off because we're going to talk about toxic empathy. When caring about somebody hurts you. I have had a couple of weeks off, and can I just say how totally amazed I am at the amount of people that have reached out, check I'm okay, say they've been missing the podcast, say they've been missing my words. And I am, it makes me all warm and fuzzy inside, and to know how much I am appreciated, and also the difference that the work that I do makes is such a blessing. But if you don't know, because I haven't talked about it a lot, I moved house. I purchased a cottage that I had dreamed about, and the dream hasn't quite turned into a nightmare. But as with all moves, and I am a Taurus, I don't like change. I have lived in new builds pretty much my whole life, and I am now living in a cottage which is well over 100 years old and needs a little bit of TLC. I am able to give it the TLC. I just have to remind myself what my vision was before I moved in. And I don't think it's helped moving in the depths of winter and there being some heating and some glazing problems, etc. And I have been cold. And it doesn't, when you're cold, sometimes it's a bit hard to get yourself motivated to unpack. If you are watching this, I'm not sure if I'll put the video up because I do look like death warmed up. Behind me is sort of a makeshift, oh, look, my vacuum cleaner is in the shot. It's just been a little bit higgledy-piggledy because I don't have storage. I was waiting for certain furniture that had storage to arrive, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I'm 2 weeks in now and I feel a lot better. Finally getting contractors to call me back. Oh my goodness, the misogyny in my town. Now, I live in central Victoria in Australia. If you know a contractor, a builder in that area, get them to reach out to me because I'm telling you now, getting them to return my call, getting them to even come and do a quote, it just isn't happening. I had emergency plumbing problems on Friday evening. I called seven. One I ended up texting and he answered me and he came out Saturday morning. Turned out to be a non-issue with another issue, but that's by the by. But getting people I'm ready. I'm ready to do work. I know what I want done. Guys, if someone calls you, call them back. That is my whinge of today. But yes, it's very frustrating. But yes, I'm 2 weeks in. I'm starting to enjoy it a lot more. I'm starting to feel a lot more comfortable. Change is never easy when you've lived in one place for a long time and you've made it comfortable. I wanted this. I have to remind myself why I wanted it and what I'm going to do with it. And all will be good. I just have to understand that I am used to comfort. I'm not going to say luxury. I'm just used to comfort. And there are parts of this house that ain't comfortable. It will all be good. But if you are in the processes of moving, if you are in the processes of buying or selling a house, I am sending you all the love because I know it's not easy. And I will laugh about it in 6 months, maybe a year, but I will definitely laugh about it in the future. And this is mine and I get to make it what I want. And I've got to get over I teach it. Do I always live by it? I've got to get over my perfectionism. And that is what it is. Anyway, I've droned on enough. We're going to talk about toxic positivity today. There will be Patreon shoutouts. There will be predictions that I see coming in. And we'll talk about some of the predictions that I have made in the last 12 months that have come in. And welcome back to Beyond This. This is going to be an exciting season. Lots of special guests. And I hope you enjoy. Now, I want to talk about empathy. And I want to talk about toxic empathy and how we need to look after ourselves by making sure that we don't engage with enabling people. As I said, I think I'm going to piss a lot of people off today. Now, the reason I say that is there's a lot of people walking around, a lot of people that engage with me and say, but I'm an empath. I'm an empath. It's such a popular word. By calling yourself an empath, you are allowing all of those energies to infiltrate you. You're allowing them to cross your boundaries. There is a difference between being an empath and saying, I have empathy. I do stress that a lot of people that call themselves an empath are actually very hyper vigilant because of maybe an upbringing, the way they were treated, past relationships, conditioning, which I've talked about in previous episodes. You can say, I am empathetic by nature. But if you can do the work to ground yourself, to protect your energy, you will understand that that hygiene, that walking around with all of your receptors open is not good for you, and it is a choice. Like myself, one of the biggest questions I get asked a lot is, hey, Matilda, do you walk in the supermarket and pick up everyone's grandma? Do you ever get a rest from spirit? First of all, spirits show up for you. They don't show up for me. They don't show up for the medium. They show up for you because they are connected to you. All right. I make a very clear choice to ground myself, to protect myself. I have that much protection up and running that reading me as a psychic is very difficult. I am very, very protected. As an empath, or somebody that may say that they are an empath, I urge you to do the work to protect your energy as much as you can. Because you are allowing people to cross those receptors, to give you their energy, to dump on you. That is dangerous for you, and it's enabling other people. Now, empathy in itself is obviously a gift. It's an ability to feel with someone, to connect, to understand on a heart level or a soul level what they're going through. But there's a shadow side to it. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. That's what we're going to explore. What happens when our empathy starts to harm us and even unintentionally harm the very people that we are trying to help? Healthy empathy is like sitting beside someone in the rain, but keeping your umbrella. You're there, you're present, and you're feeling for them, but you're still protected. Toxic empathy is throwing away your umbrella, getting drenched, and then wondering why you're shivering and sick the next day. I once worked with a woman who would take on every single worry her teenage daughter had. If her daughter was stressed about exams, she'd lose sleep too. If her daughter felt anxious about friendships, she carried that anxiety in her own body. Over time, she became so run down that she couldn't actually support her daughter in a calm way anymore. The empathy was there, but it was toxic because it consumed her. Toxic empathy will creep in quietly. Maybe you find yourself carrying the weight of a friend's problems long after the conversation ends. Maybe you feel guilty for not being able to fix something. Maybe your mood shifts entirely because someone around you is upset. For many of us, it starts young. Maybe you grew up in a home where you were the peacemaker, the one who had to smooth things over. Or you had a parent who leaned on you emotionally when they should have been the one caring for you. Toxic empathy comes in many, many forms. And often we don't know that we are being taken advantage of metaphysically before it's too late. It can also include relationships, friendships, work colleagues who don't know how to step up for themselves, don't know how to do things for themselves, or simply won't. We feel sorry for them. We feel to some extent that we caused it for them. I once worked with another lady who had a daughter who was almost in her 30s, maybe late 20s. And this daughter made the mother feel as if she was responsible for every single thing in her life. She didn't know how to make her own way, how to pave her own way. It was like she was waiting for someone to rescue her, someone that was going to come along and marry her. And in the meantime, mum was looking after her. Every spare penny she had, this is when I was back in the UK, she would give to her daughter. And her daughter had the life of Riley. She was doing exactly what her daughter wanted. But because the mother felt responsible and guilty because of choices she'd made many years before regarding family, the daughter eventually learnt that she could take advantage of her mother. That's where empathy became toxic. The thing about toxic empathy is that it doesn't just drain your energy, it stops other people from growing. If I'm constantly protecting you from your own discomfort, you don't get a chance to learn how strong you actually are. A client once told me that in her role as a nurse, she would carry every patient's story home. She cried for them. She worried about them at night and replayed their struggles in her mind. It made her ill with compassion fatigue. Only when she learned to separate her empathy from her responsibility did she find the strength to keep showing up without breaking down. So how many of you have a friend that you're always listening to, that you're always fixing their problems for, that you run to every time they call? How's that working out for you? It is wonderful to be empathetic. It is wonderful to want to help people. But sometimes when we're in the moment of running around for everyone and helping everyone, we're doing it so that we don't have to address the problems in our own life. We don't have to address the decisions that we keep delaying. Toxic empathy is just that. It is toxic. There are ways to set boundaries without hurting people. I have known many, many people that end up cutting off friendships and relationships in a harsh way because they get used up and one thing will trigger and they'll go no more, they'll lose their temper, they will tell the person who has been taking from them exactly what they think about them, and then they will walk away. There is a middle ground where you set boundaries and you stick to it. And sometimes those boundaries need to be with us. And the reason I say that is that sometimes we just get into the habit of picking up the phone when someone calls. The what if they need us? What if they want us? What if, what if, what if? But we cannot keep going if we do not help ourselves. Here's what I've learned over the years. Grounding yourself before and after connecting with someone who's going through a lot. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Remember that holding space is not the same as fixing. Sometimes the greatest act of love is to let someone feel what they need to feel without rushing to take it away. Now, as a parent of boys, I will always want to try and fix things. But I read a book many years ago, which was Resilience is the Greatest Gift, or Failure is the Greatest Gift you can give your children. And I'm going to be honest, it changed my life. I love my boys till the end of this earth, and I will always help them if and when I can. But they have to learn to save themselves. And I've watched in awe as both of my boys have become strong, empathetic, caring men. They're not boys anymore. They're men. And I've watched them solve problems by themselves. And sometimes you just sit there and you just go, you want to say something and you want to step in. But I've watched them fix issues without having to ask me the how, the when. I mean, look, one of them once phoned to ask how to cook baked beans, but we're not going to talk about that. But issues within their personal life. And I think that as a mother of sons, it can sometimes be a little hard because girls seem to get it a lot earlier, or they have that emotional resilience that they go through it as teenagers and then they seem to come out of it about 18, which is amazing. But the reality is that we have to let people learn to fix things for themselves. We can always give them tools, always give them an idea of what they need to do. But we cannot continue to carry the weight of those around us. By carrying the weight of those around us, we don't have the energy to look after ourselves. So if this resonates, I want you to remember this. Empathy is a gift. But even gifts need boundaries. We serve others best when we're serving from a place of wholeness, not depletion. And anyone that watched the Taylor Swift episode of New Heights, where she talked about her energy is a luxury item, that's how we should all walk through life. That's what I've taught for years. You are all luxury items. Live like that. And understand that enabling people through sometimes their own inadequacies or lack of wanting to help themselves is not going to help you or them. All right, we're going to do our Patreon shoutouts next. And now it's that time of the episode where we thank our newest Patreon subscribers. If you're not aware, all Patreon members sponsor this podcast, so you don't have to listen to ads. And over on Patreon, we have so much fun. There are always new predictions. We have a coffee morning once a month. There is an opportunity for you to ask your burning current affair specific questions or spiritual questions. There are discounts for all of my readings. There is first dibs at readings, groups, events. There's a lot of stuff that stays within Patreon that doesn't go outside of Patreon because it simply books out for my Patreon members. So if you are interested for just $5 for the basic membership, you can join my Patreon. That gives you access to the chats. I'm on the chats 2 or 3 times a week saying hi, talking about grey sweatpants and beavers. Yes, I know the chats can be unhinged, but the purpose of the chats, for those of you that don't know, is really just a check-in, check the energy, have a laugh, people tell jokes. It is fun. We don't want to be doom and gloom in there all the time. We have different chats for spirituality. We have chats for what's going on prep-wise, as in weather prep. Just this week, I made a new video with predictions. There is the coffee morning, which gets reposted. Patreon's where it's at, guys. It really is. And there's no hate or nastiness that we get over on other social media platforms. Without much more drivel from me, I'm going to give our Patreon members the biggest shout out for the last 3 weeks because, yes, I have been on hollybobs. Well, I haven't been on hollybobs. I've been moving house. That is the furthest from a holiday you can get, but you've been patient with me. So, Janet Ellis, thank you for joining for 12 months. Candace Morrill, Alicia, Stefan, Kim, Laura, Karen JC, Elizabeth Ty, Erin, Denise, Angelica, Melody, Chantel, Jeannie, thank you for joining for 12 months. LMAO Whelp, Thank you for joining. Sandra, Julia, Naomi. It's a different spelling of Naomi, but it's cool. Maria, who has joined for 12 months. Javonna, John McKee, Letty, Amhumia. I'm so sorry. I have bastardized that. Many apologies. Stephanie, who has joined for 12 months. Thank you. Teresa Bailey, Gigi. I'm Amber. Janelle, who has joined for 12 months. Trish, who has joined for 12 months. Laura Maxwell. Laurie Saldivar. Colorado Girl. Dina Payne. Christine, Mark Lambo, thank you for joining for 12 months. Kirsten Soji, thank you for joining for 12 months. Nathan Peake, Diana, Natalie Payne, Kelly, who has joined for 12 months, and Nicola Chalk. Thank you guys. You guys rock. You keep this podcast going. You make it possible. And we have some exciting guests coming up in this season of Beyond This. If you are thinking about joining Patreon, there is a sale over there for 12-month subscriptions. You get a percentage off. But guys, it's where it's at. It's where you're going to get the latest news. It's where you're going to get the updates when things happen. And it's where I can be brutally honest and be me. And that means that everyone else gets to be them too. So, you know where it's at. Follow the link in the show notes if you are interested. So, you hear me talk about putting protection in place or setting boundaries. And it's all very well and good, Matilda, but could you tell us how? That's where this part of the podcast comes in. This part of the podcast, I urge you to like, share, whatever you feel the need to do. If you could rate and share and subscribe to this podcast, it really helps the word get out, because we all need some practice in boundaries and psychic protection. Even if you are not a working psychic and you feel that you are energetically impacted by people, by things going on, this is going to help you. The idea of setting energetic and practical boundaries and creating safe psychic space is increasingly important. We communicate with each other all the time, engaging each other's bodies and energies, setting boundaries on that energetic contact can be challenging. However, limiting the degree to which you allow others into your energetic space can be crucial for your own mental health. Limiting the degree to which you allow people in, especially if you are empathetic or sensitive. Often you will have difficulty separating yourselves once your energies have mingled. If you are sensitive and don't make an effort to protect yourself from other people's energy, you will pick up thoughts and emotions from everyone you are near, either physically or emotionally. And you will also feel the world news and its gloomy overview penetrating you as well. There is a time and a place for this type of connection and connectiveness. In an intimate relationship, it can be bonding. In a therapeutic relationship, it can yield positive results through deeper understanding. But allowing strangers and more casual acquaintances and energy thieves to have such an impact on your energetic system is unhealthy. A clear sense of what it feels like to you alone inside your body is important. If you have this baseline conception of yourself, it can help you understand why you feel certain things at certain times. This is also going to help if you are trying to build your intuitive abilities and your connection to your guides. It is really important. If you're an easygoing person when you're alone, but after spending the afternoon with a friend who is more edgy or uptight, you come away feeling nervous. You can separate that person's feelings and characteristics from your own. This is one reason why spending time alone is so important. Emotions are easier to pick up than a cold if you are sensitive. Just being around others can become overwhelming for sensitive people. You haven't learned to set up boundaries. Half the battle is simply acknowledging that you are picking up on other people's energy. If you can identify the influence, you can choose who you want to let that close and when. It's not always that easy. But once you have a clearer idea of who you are alone and are aware of the effect of other people on you, it is much easier to bring yourself back to your own center and release the energies from other people that attach to you. Essentially, there are a few things that you can do for psychic protection. Sometimes these are phrases, sometimes these are things that you need to actually do, but doing these before you catch up with people or before you eat, sometimes even before you go to work. If you work in a crowded place or you have to go to the shopping centre or you have to hang out with your mother-in-law, try these. Essentially, the first is preparation. The second is the time during an encounter, and the third is cleansing afterwards. In the preparation phase, you work to consciously choose your boundaries. On an intellectual level, you increase your awareness of your interactions with others and make some decisions. If someone is difficult for you to be around, pushes your buttons, or engages you in power struggles, you know you need to prepare before being with them. It's a good idea to think about how you will react if they say something hurtful or try to get you to do something you don't want to do. Have a strategy to keep your center. Centering is so important. It's as easy as standing still, taking a few deep breaths and bringing yourself back into your own energy. There's no magic wand. I keep telling people there's no magic wand to change the way other people behave or treat us. You are the magic wand. You are the magic for you. On a spiritual level, you work on your shield by developing a strong energy body. In meditation, visualize yourself surrounded by a cocoon of white light. Pay attention to the quality of the light and see if there are any holes or gaps in this cocoon. If there are repairs needed, put your hand up to that spot on your body and visualize the white light flooding into the space and filling the gaps. Keep this visualization up until the cocoon feels strong and unbroken. Practice this periodically. Tune into your luminous egg of light briefly throughout the day and keep it strong and energized. It never goes away because it is your energy field, but you can nourish it with attention in order to strengthen your ability to set boundaries. Knowing how to deal with people and keeping strong boundaries is going to keep you safe physically, spiritually, and emotionally. I hope this helps as you move forward. There will be a series that I'm going to add during this month to Patreon on grounding practices, on psychic protection practices, on boundary setting. Having the invisibility cloak that I use quite a lot really helps. And I will talk about all of those and do different recordings for you to be able to tap into as you need them. Let's jump into some overview of predictions. As I jump into the predictions, before I do, I want to talk about timing. I talk about it a lot on my Patreon, and those that have been following me for a number of years and have seen the different timing that happens, well done. Because there are lots of predictions that I made last year that we are seeing happening now. Now, I don't choose to have a shit ability to predict things with perfect timing. What I do is when I'm getting the information from spirit, whether I'm channeling it, whether I'm getting it from my guides. I will go through the indication of time that they are giving me. Now, if they give me a month, if they give me a time of year, that's what I will go with. Little did I know that much of what I was given last year is playing out month by month to what I got last year to now, as well as a lot of predictions that did happen in very particular timing last year. So please understand that timing can be very loose within the psychic community. Anyone that tells you that they have an exact day or an exact time that something's going to happen is talking at their ass. My timing is either really, really, really good or really, really, really bad. And when it's bad, it's usually a year or 2 years after that effect. Now, I know those of you that are in America waiting for certain things to happen, that's not helping. But I do beg you to go back and have a look at my social media that said what was happening in August, September last year. And that is sort of starting to play out now, especially around the angry mango, which is very interesting. His health is under a lot of fire. You can see it decline physically before your eyes. His train of thought is very loose. I will stick with the predictions that I made last year about vascular dementia and him having vascular issues. It makes a lot of sense now when we see the swelling in his legs, etc. Why they're letting him fly, I don't know, because that guy just shouldn't be flying and certainly shouldn't be on long flights. It's going to be very interesting. And I know a lot of people are asking about the Ukraine and him really pushing for the Ukraine to leave the UN. We'll have to watch out and see if the UN asks the US to leave the UN, because I don't think they're making any friends right now. Certainly not with Trump. We will see an increase in protests and arrests over the coming 2 weeks. There is still something very significant to happen before the end of August that is either health orientated or a loss of following, a loss of backing. It could even be Republicans turning their back on him. It feels big. Okay. A lot of people thought that it was this meeting with the UN and the other leaders. I don't believe that's the case. I think there is something bigger to come. Maybe around this weekend, the new moon. He's going to make a big faux pas, which is going to upset people. I know a lot of people want to also know about the Epstein list and Ghislaine Maxwell. I think I said this on my last podcast, but because I recorded so long ago, I'm just going to reiterate it. I think that she is unwell and that's why she's been moved. It's an agreement of some sort. I think that she may have some sort of terminal illness or brain illness. We'll see how that plays out. I think the Epstein list is going to be leaked quite I'm going to say by October, we will see a full copy of the Epstein list. I've always said this, that there's people on the Epstein list that are there because they knew him for financial reasons, not necessarily knew what he was doing. And I will stand by that we do not know what everybody does. Okay? You think you know people, and sometimes maybe you hear whispers, but you go, no, I know them. They couldn't possibly do that. Bear in mind that not everyone on that list is going to be guilty of something. And that's not me making excuses for people. I am not an apologist or a rape apologist or anything like that. Please understand that that's what I'm being given by spirit. So hold on to that. Over the next couple of weeks, we are unfortunately going to see an increase in shootings. I'm really worried there will be a school or college shooting of some sort of September. Area-wise, I'm going to go East Coast, okay? That's as close as I've got, all right? And that sort of deals with sort of right the way from New York down through to Florida. I know that's a wide area. It makes me incredibly uncomfortable, and I feel like it could be a college thing. That's what I'm being shown, but it feels like there's an increase in shootings. I can only give you the information. It's a horrible, horrible situation that having to send a child to school or college knowing that people can do this is horrific. Over the coming weeks, we're going to see more of Miss Swift. I think that there is going to be an announcement that isn't connected to her music. Do I think it's wedding bells? Do I think they've got married? No. Do I think they're engaged? I think they're already engaged, and if they're not, they've discussed it. I don't think they'll come out and make a massive announcement about it. I said last year that I felt somebody in their camp would leak it unintentionally. And that sort of did happen. Somebody on a football podcast said, "Do we think it hasn't happened already?" or something like that. And I think that they will keep their wedding very secret until they can't. There is it's going to be something really interesting around Australian mining in the coming weeks. Whether that's a mine accident or somebody, I feel like there's mines changing hands, but there's also like a drama around mines, whether there's a mining accident or a mine closes unexpectedly. Look out for that. When I go through to Europe, I still want to say heat, 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 something that I had predicted in my 2025 predictions. If you've seen those on Patreon, I feel like there is a lot of heat happening, more fires, and there's going to be an announcement about Keir Starmer being caught with his hand in the cookie jar. I don't think he's stealing money. It just feels like he's been caught out with either a flirty text message, doing something he shouldn't do, put it that way. And it's going to be incredibly embarrassing for him. Watch out, hurricane season, as I've always said. Now, I get a lot of stick for this on social media because people go, when I say to people, 2025 is the year to prepare, and that is to make sure that you have basic supplies, water, an action plan if you are hit by severe weather. I talked about floods being really prevalent this year and into 2026. Now, a lot of that has happened. I don't know specific areas until it's very, very close and often too late. And I can predict a flood and it will happen in the next 2 weeks. But I want everyone to understand that no one is going to escape severe weather. Whether that is hurricanes, floods, wind, we have seen it play out. Those that listened to me were prepared. I want you to listen and understand that I'm not doing this to be a doomsday prepper. I warned in 2023 that 25 and 26 would be horrific for weather. It's what you need to do. Have some bottled water, have a few tins of food, have a little bit of cash on hand. If you can get your hands on a wind-up radio that also works as a charger, that is going to help. Have some lamps, torches, candles, whatever you need, but be prepared because it is scattered around the globe. It is not just one place. And it is pretty bad weather. Us here in Australia should be preparing for fire season now because I think it's going to come early. Although it is bitterly, bitterly cold right now, it's going to come early. And as I sit here with my borrowed heater in my office. That's about it for now. There is good stuff coming. There is good in this world. I experienced a random act of kindness myself today. If you want change in your life, be the change because you are worth it and so are those that love you. There's a couple of events that I've got coming up. They are on my website. I have the Are You Listening to Your Guides, which is an in-depth workshop on teaching you to build a relationship with your own guides and lean into your own intuition. It really is helpful and a lot of people find it good. That is this coming Sunday if you are in the US, Monday if you are in Australia. It is on my website. I would book now if you can. I also have a 30-minute manifestation and meditation event at the end of the month, which is phenomenal for those that want to get into manifesting and teaches you the steps. I manifested this cottage. I'll talk about that in the event. I have manifested much of my life without even knowing it. And I want to teach you how to do it. $30 for 30 minutes. And that's Australian dollars, so about $20 in the US. That is available on my website. If you are a follower of Laurie Rivers, I will be joining her at the end of the month for a very basic how to read. Well, it's not even how to read your chart, how to see where things are. When she talks about the doohickeys in the whatsits, I asked her to do a basic course, and that is what she's doing. But now she's using me as a guinea pig. So you'll get to see my chart, and she's going to explain it to me. Whilst you will watch. And I think that's free for her 15 and up Patreons, or it's $15 to attend. There is some great news coming from Sassy Sears in the coming weeks. We will be doing our 2026 year ahead as a joint event in October, so get ready for that. And I have October readings available on my website. I didn't know that I didn't have any availability in October. I had sold out, and an email was scheduled if you received it and tried to book a reading. Apologies. I've now opened about 4 spaces. Sorry about that. So you can go ahead and book those now if you wish. Thank you for joining me today. This is the new season of Beyond This. Please like, share, and subscribe so I can get amongst the algorithm on the different sites. Lots of love. I hope today's been helpful. And I will catch you soon. Bye.